everybody. Welcome. It is Mickey Talks. I am Mickey. Episode 11. They said it wouldn't last. I told them they were wrong, Matt. We made it.
We're here.
We made it to double digits, buddy. And today is a huge thrill for me. When I was a younger man, I'm not going to say kid till, but when I was a younger man, one of my favorite things to do was watch the sports on the news. And my absolute favorite guy to watch every night, simply because when he talked, I knew how he sounded. The neighborhoods he talked about around town, the high schools, it was everything I ever wanted to do, and that is the legendary Keith Mills. Hi, my friend.
Mickey, great to be back with you, brother.
Oh, it's so good to see you, buddy. Now, listen, you're living in Florida.
Yeah, I'm still back and forth.
Yeah. But it's got to be a little warmer year-round than up here,
No question. 2 months ago, when it was 15 and 18, it was, 70. So
You must have hated it.
I was hating life down there.
So, Keith, man, a couple weeks ago, maybe a month or so, I put out a video when I had reached a point where I didn't know what to do anymore, man, struggling inside and emotional. And a couple people reached out to me, and you were one. And it meant the world to me, Keith. We had some fun years together on the radio. And the day we met, I thought it was an honor for me to meet you, man. You had done all your TV work. You left TV for a minute.
Yeah, we'll get into why.
Yeah, and
not proud of it, but it is what it is.
First day back when I saw you, I was just so excited, and I'll tell you, man, this is a real treat for me.
Vice versa, instant connection when you
Yes.
and I started working together.
Yeah.
I always say we're brothers from different side of the tracks.
Man.
On the other side of the Key Bridge. Unfortunately, it's not there now. But we grew up in the same kind of blue collar neighborhood.
Absolutely.
Played sports for a group of gentlemen that kind of helped raise us and got us to where we are. And I will go to my grave, unbelievably thankful that our paths crossed professionally, and now we're the best of friends, man. I don't care if we see each other 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years, doesn't matter. Love you to death.
We pick right up, Keith. I feel the same way, man. When I think back on, especially someone like yourself, you had such a high profile. You're a television sports guy. You went through a little bit of personal struggle. And how many years has that been? Do you even know?
It's been 20. It's been 20.
20
2000
years.
and May of 2005, I began working with you guys.
That's
WBAL, 98 Rock, BAL TV. Yeah. 20 years.
And it was crazy because when we first met, you had said to me after a couple days, and we just hit it off.
Yeah,
we started talking like brothers. You looked at me and you said, I didn't know if I'd ever be in this business again. And so glad that you did, and that BAL saw in you what everybody did and gave you that chance. And, man, you have proved something. Which inspired me was that basically no matter where you are in life, if you start over and do the right thing, you can accomplish anything in life.
Yeah, and listen to the people that are trying to help you instead of keeping them at arm distance. And where we connected, two things. One, you never judged when I got there.
I never judged anybody.
No one in that building did, which to this day, again, I'll go to my grave thanking.
Keith, I've thought about you. You've said that to me many times. You never judged me. You never judged me. And I got to tell you why. I'm a ninth grade dropout. I'm from Baltimore City. I'm from very, very basic means. My parents were both blue-collar people. Yeah. My mom and dad got pregnant at 18 and 19 by mistake with me. I'm that story that people hear about all the time, but that is why I think we connected, man. There's a million stories like yours and ours in this city.
Well, when I started working with you, first it was Kirk and Mark, and then you and Amelia and Scott Reardon, and it was really one of the golden periods of my life simply because of the chemistry in the room. But also, and I can identify with you, that's why you are so popular amongst a huge majority of people in Baltimore, is because they can relate.
Yeah, man.
They can relate to you. They can relate to me. Hey, listen, a lot of people are climbing a mountain, getting knocked down. It's how you respond and come back and what people really respect. But the reason they respected you, man, is they can look in the mirror and see you. See me and say, hey, I know that guy with the big nose and a crease in his forehead. And, doesn't know, he's talking like he just got out of a manhole cover on Hanover Street. I can relate to that.
Keith, I think one of the things we both love about this city is its honesty, purity, and rawness. I mean, there's great people from this city that have gone on to become 1% people. They're billionaires or they're whatever, millionaires. But yet, you and I can walk in. What's it? The 4100
4100 Club.
Brooklyn. Yeah, Brooklyn. Explain.
Unfortunately, it's not there anymore.
I know, but explain
down.
What that was.
Yeah, 4100 Club was a local restaurant off Ritchie Highway and 4th Street in Brooklyn. If you're familiar with the area, right up the street from St. Rosa Lima, right on the Anne Arundel County city line. My father, who worked at Channel 13 for 150 years.
Right.
Worked for the Colts and the Orioles back when Brooks Robinson,
right.
Johnny U, Art Donovan. All those guys would come in there periodically.
Yeah.
And it was like, hey, no big deal. Artie Donovan's over here. Gino Marcardi's here. Johnny Unitas is there on Easter throwing footballs. And it was our cheers. You walk in, you knew somebody in there.
Yeah, man.
Manny and Dino Hispanopoulos were two Greek brothers who kind of Mr. Angelos kind of helped finance and basically, kept the place alive for a while. Then the neighborhood took it over. I'm sure you grew up in some places over, off Bel Air Road and
Harford
Hamilton.
Road. Yeah, Harford Road, man. Wilson's Tavern, Coco's Pub.
You know everybody.
Every
that
single
was the 41.
human. When I was a kid, we would, we ran the streets. I mean, that's just what you do. You run around the neighborhood.
Yeah.
And I can remember when we were old enough to stay out till like 11, 12 at night. So we were probably 8. But no, honestly, we were teenagers, and we got to stay out on the weekends, and you'd see them characters coming out of the bar later at night. You never saw that as a kid, and they're half smoked up, liquored up, and they treated you. First of all, they treated you like you were a moron, but with the most love in the world.
Great respect.
It's incredible, man. And I've tried to explain that kind of vibe to my kids because I think the thing you and I love about Baltimore is people say they're from Baltimore outside of Baltimore. But when you're in Baltimore and someone says, hey, where are you from? You say the neighborhood.
Neighborhood.
You grew up in.
It used to be high school. Now it's middle school.
Now it's middle
Elementary school.
Right.
Remember we met? Oh, yeah.
Whatever it was, yeah.
It didn't matter.
It didn't matter. Because it's all the same, really. And I've come up with this thing where I go, Baltimore's kind of that city where, everything's sort of the same. The only thing that changes really is the location and the occupation. What was your dad? Oh, he was a steel worker. How about yours? A carpenter.
Yeah.
What about, and that's what most
Drove
of
a
us
bus.
grew up.
MTA bus.
But what you were amazing at, Keith, and I don't know if it ever really dawned on you, I think what made you so incredible, like the great Vince Bagley, for those of us old enough to remember that name.
Legendary. Speaking of a legend.
Yeah. And
man,
I can remember I was about 11. And I played in the Maryland Junior Amateur Golf Tournament at Mount Pleasant. God, I don't know the year. 80, 79, maybe, something like that, 80. I played there. And that night on the news, Vince Bagley talked about the top 4 golfers from the Maryland. Nobody even knew anybody's name, but he talked about it like it was the Masters.
Yeah.
And then he would talk about high schools that way, and he would talk about rec teams, big rivalries. And you embraced that when you would do our show.
I learned from him.
Is that really?
Oh, no question.
Yeah,
Grew up
man.
with the old black and white TV in my room at night, and he showed the highlights of the high schools.
Right.
Everybody showed the Orioles or the Colts. He showed the high schools. City Poly, not just City Poly. Southern and
Calvert Hall.
Calvert Hall.
Whoever it was.
Didn't matter.
It didn't matter.
And he showed us all, but I mean all, when I first, Scott Garceau, Jerry Sandusky, that generation of sportscasters.
Was Randy
Blair was the first guy I worked with.
Right. So you guys were basically close to the same age, right?
Randy was about 5 years older than me when he died.
He was great.
Oh, he was awesome. But again, he came in, saw how Vince did it. Scott Garceau and Vince were exactly alike in regards to gentlemen, treated everybody with respect, unbelievable knowledge, and no ego. Zero ego.
You didn't have any ever.
Well, I learned from them, man.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, I have that like bullshit ego, which is kind of like, as far as being funny and all that stuff, I know I'm pretty good, but like walking down the street, somebody said, Mickey, what's up? Hey, what's up?
Oh, absolutely.
None of that. I am just a guy from the neighborhood. And
but I love you.
Keith, you're still doing it. You're still involved with the Ravens, with Navy.
Navy football, yeah.
So you do the game day for Navy, right?
I do game day. I started out doing the sideline. Unfortunately, last year, our play-by-play guy, Pete Medhurst.
Yeah.
A lot of people who watch this probably will know or have heard of, came down with bad cancer, unfortunately passed away right after the season. So I ended up doing the color analyst with Joe Miller, who moved into the play-by-play from the sideline, which was kind of cool. So
you're doing color from the field?
From the sideline. We decided to do it that way.
Is that the first time you've ever done that?
I've done some color in basketball, but not football. And lacrosse.
I mean, from the sideline.
From the sideline. I would do the sideline reporting, like, hey, Blake Corvath, the quarterback in the injury tent, we'll keep you posted. Or I'd interview the coach at halftime, star player after the game. But I always joked, my goal was to be seen and heard as little as possible from the sideline. That's not a lot of guys got hurt.
Keith, a lot of people don't know this. You were a fantastic baseball player. You were a great baseball player. And you love baseball. I know you do.
Yeah.
When I was a kid, it was my favorite sport. I mean, it was. And then I found soccer. Football was never really for me unless I was going to be a kicker or the guy that held the ball for the kicker.
Right.
But do you not feel like the Orioles have that I don't want to use the word magic because it's so cliche with the Orioles, but the vibe from the city
Great
again.
vibe. Yeah.
It's just fun to go to a game. You don't feel like it's I don't know. It just feels different again and good. Do you get that vibe?
Absolutely. But as I get into this, though, I am going to share the story, and that's another thing where you and I bonded, our love for amateur sports. You played soccer in one of the hotbeds of the country, man.
Yeah.
East Baltimore.
East Baltimore, yeah.
You didn't play unless you were tough.
Yeah.
And Mickey was a tremendous goalie, and I'll share this story later. I was the baseball coach at Cardinal Gibbons when it closed. And he actually, and my son played soccer, and he came up and worked with our goalies one day.
I came there that day.
And they're still talking about it at weddings. Unbelievable.
And you were a kid when this happened?
No, so
he was on the air. We were working together.
So what happened was, I always talked about soccer on the air, and
I loved it.
I know you did.
I know Pete Caringi loved it.
Well, to me, I think I was as far as I know, there were probably others. Maybe I'm being arrogant and forgetful, but I was kind of like the first East Baltimore guy that ever got on the air to that level that said, I don't give a shit what anybody, I love soccer. And I started talking about it. And then Keith one day says, hey, you want to come over to Cardinal Gibbons? My son plays. Come out and work with the goalie. I was like, I'd do it. And I went out. What a day.
Oh, you killed it, man.
That was so much fun.
We had a couple of really good goalies on that team. You took them to the different level.
It was fun,
and he was all business, Matt.
Yeah.
I mean, he came out, it was, everybody wanted to talk about 98 Rock, and he goes, no, let's talk goal. He got down and dirty. He was diving. Guys were taking rocket shots at him.
Yeah.
Man, he got into it.
I'll tell you what.
It was a highlight of their athletic experience.
And 2 days later, I couldn't get out of bed.
Well, Mike Anderson, our producer, came over and did a story on it, had it on the air the next day, man. It was awesome.
It was wild.
So you have some soccer skills then, huh?
I did. I'm an old fat guy now. But
big time.
And listen, if you take East Baltimore, I was probably in the top 60% of players. I mean, there were guys that were incredible. I was decent.
At that time, you came out. Timmy Whitman was coming out of here.
He was right ahead of me.
Man, it was unbelievable.
The studs in my day were guys like, oh, my God, Chris Reef, Danny Rose, Vince Muscoon. I mean, I'm going to forget 1,000 names I should remember. But the guys before us that really put Baltimore on the map, Pete Caringi, Steve Syracuse and Sonny Askew.
Nick Mangione.
Yeah,
Mangione boys.
All that's Mangione's about 45 of them. All great players. There's so many guys. And I've told this story so many times. When I was a kid, there was zero soccer on television. The best players in the world to me were at Patterson.
Pele.
No,
Patterson Park.
Patterson Park and Herring Run, because I never saw anyone else play. These were the greatest soccer players I ever saw.
Well, Pete Caringi, who went on to become one of the more renowned collegiate coaches in the country, led UMBC to a Final Four, University of Maryland, Baltimore County, to a Final Four with his son Petey on the team. Petey now an assistant coach. I mean, Pete is an icon nationally.
It's unbelievable.
Locally, he is beyond an icon. And that crew, and he would always say that the toughest games he ever played was the Sunday Baltimore Major League at Patterson Park, the Dnipro and little Flower.
You brought up the Dnipro. I mean, that's awesome.
It is like I would read those scores in the Sunday News American. Like, I got to get over there and watch some of these games.
So what was so wild that I don't know if people understand, all those clubs were basically social clubs that men had. And
okay.
it was
They
all
sponsored soccer teams.
yeah, it was all ethnic stuff.
Here.
Right? So, like, Dnipro was mostly, like, Ukrainian guys.
No kidding.
Yeah, I mean, Pompeii was Italian, and, you know, like, you La Dolce Vita, you had all these teams that, and they weren't, like, it wasn't, like, ethnic problems or racial problems.
No, man, it was just...
They were owned by
turf wars, right? Neighborhood turf wars.
Yeah, and they were owned by the
It's like
greatest
city basketball at that time, man.
the men that owned these clubs and sponsored these teams, you know, Mr. Caranta was if they made a movie about one of the great characters,
Steve Brandon and Steve's father.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the big
Yes.
Mr. Caranta.
the original Caranta, you know, Steve and Tommy's dad, Santino's grandfather.
Santino's grandfather. Tommy's still coaching. See that?
Tommy's
Pipeline.
great. Yeah, I mean,
Unbelievable.
Yeah, those guys were incredible players. But some of those games were just, I mean, there's a story. I don't even know if I'm getting in trouble for telling this. Patterson Park. Mr.
Could have possibly involved maybe a wager or two on the game that maybe one of the bartenders or bar owners in that area, maybe like Tommy's Lounge, Pete Caringi's father might have had something to do with. I didn't say that, though. God rest his soul, because he's no longer with us.
One of my favorite stories.
Statute of limitations.
One of my favorite stories that I ever remember hearing was Mr. Caranta. I don't remember. I mean, there's guys that know the details way more, but apparently, either there's a gun involved during a game and a referee, or there was a Cadillac driven onto a field and tried to run somebody over.
Oh, my God.
And the thing is, you hear these stories and you go, I believe it.
Yeah, you believe it.
That's not hard to believe, man.
Happened in your neighborhood all the time, right?
Nonstop. But, you know, when I was a kid, you would hear that, like you said, Pompeii's playing, you know, La Dolce Vita or at Hanron Park or something. We would get up at 10 in the morning, and we could not wait to go to Herring Run Park. It was a 3-block walk for me, 2-block. And there'd be 500 people around the soccer field with no stands. It was amazing.
And is this a kid's league?
No.
This is like
this adults, basically 18 and over.
Yeah.
It was the men's semi-pro.
Oh, it was brutal.
I was gonna say we were playing on different leagues then.
Right. Well,
when we were kids.
Those guys and the Whitman brothers, I mean, Butchie and Scotty, I mean, they would fight.
They fight each other.
It was amazing. The characters that came out. And Keith, I know you have a great affinity for the basketball scene in Baltimore, which, of course, I know nothing about.
But basketball and soccer, unbelievably similar
in
that it was all neighborhood-esque, particularly in Baltimore City.
Yeah.
Lafayette Courts, Benelux Rec.
Yeah.
Go down the line. I mean, whatever recreation program in the city had great coaches, great players. At Lafayette Courts alone was Reggie Williams, Muggsy Bogues, Skip Wise.
Yeah, man.
Who was probably the first big star.
By the way, I know one name you just said, and that's Muggsy Bogues, and that's because he's 5'3" like me.
Yeah. Hall of Famer,
and he
man.
could dunk.
Yeah,
Is that true? Could he?
No, he couldn't dunk, but he could block shots from behind. He would come and if you brought the ball back, he'd come take it from you.
Snatch it.
Yeah.
Oh,
I walked into the NBA All-Star game in D.C. and he was playing, and he walked in the East locker room and the Red Sea parted, man. Larry Johnson, Patrick Ewing. It was like Jesus Christ walked in, 5'3" Muggsy Bogues, and I'm looking like, this is pretty cool, man. This is one of the kings of Baltimore.
I
thought, but that would be like Pete Caringi walking into
anywhere.
Yeah,
DeSantis up in Perry Hall.
DeSantis.
Everybody has a bunch of soccer guys in there. You see Pete. What's up, Coach? I never played for Pete, and I call him Coach.
Coach. Everybody does.
And I'll tell you something about Pete Caringi that I don't think a lot of people give him credit for. As a soccer mind genius, he really did embrace that game in a way I've never seen. But the thing about Pete Caringi that I don't think he gets enough credit for, the way he handled young men and the way he guided young men into being adults through that college. There's a great player went on to play for the junior national team, Zach Wenger, who played for Pete. You remember Zach?
Absolutely.
Well, Zach and I have had incredible conversations, and he talks about Pete like it's almost religious. You know, those kids adored Pete Caringi. So to me, that's the greatest compliment I can say about Pete Caringi is what the young men that played for him, the way they speak of him and his character.
Yeah, and that group is still tight. The ones that are still around, man.
Unreal.
The 1975 University of Baltimore soccer champions.
Yep.
And then the next year, Loyola won it.
Yeah.
Hey, true story. I'm working at the News American. I'm writing for the News American.
One sec. For the younger kids watching, Baltimore used to have 2 newspapers, which was owned by Hearst. Did you know that?
Hearst,
yeah,
absolutely.
Did you know it? You worked there. Yeah. So go ahead. I'm sorry.
And John Stedman hired me out of high school because he knew my father, and I'm covering the high school circuit most of the time. But he goes, you got to go up to Mount Washington Field. University of Baltimore is playing Loyola in soccer. I'm like, okay, I didn't know.
Yeah,
I had heard about it.
Right.
I mean to tell you,
1,000 people.
The field is like playing on, like the moon.
Yeah.
It's gravel. And there's 3,000 people lined around the
incredible.
fence, and they're barking at each other, man. There's fights in the crowd, and it is a bloodbath on the field. After the game, guys are going over drinking beer together after the game.
It was amazing. One of my favorite
They're
stories.
the 2 best Division II teams in the country.
It's incredible. And when you hear or see those guys, I mean, the guy. I think Nick Mangione was on that Loyola team.
Nick was on the Loyola team. John Huska,
Mario Shilapoti.
Mario Shilapoti. Yeah.
I love Mario. He's one of my favorite people, but he did flunk me out of college.
Jeez.
I needed one. If I got a 69, and I got kicked. If he gave me a 70, I could have stayed.
I played baseball against Mario.
What an athlete!
Oh, great athlete. He played second base for Archbishop Curley my senior year at Brooklyn Park. We played them, and I had the scorebook for that game. My head coach gave me all the scorebooks for my years, and he kept saying, we got you guys that day. I said, I'm afraid not. I'm afraid not.
I wanted to ask you, are you a memorabilia guy?
Not really.
How about for yourself? Like, did you keep any accolades? I didn't keep a thing.
I kept a couple of things.
I kept nothing.
Yeah, I kept a couple of things from the 2000 Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Tony Saragusa signed me a couple of things, but I never did. I regret that now.
Me too, man.
My father had United stuff sitting all over the house.
Yeah.
And we never saved it.
One of my biggest heartbreaks, not heartbreaks, but towards the end of his life, I lived very close to Johnny Unitas.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
no kidding.
Within a mile, and he had big farms, so I was living out in Baltimore County, and I mean, I could drive to his house in a minute and a half. That's how close we were. And there was a little, convenience store gas station, and he'd go in it all the time and hang out. I started going in there one day. I look over, and I said, wow. And I got to know the guy that owned the store and his son, and I said, is that Johnny Unitas? And they're like, yeah, and Chris goes, you want to meet him? I'm like, well, I met him when I was a kid, but I'd love to. So he goes, the guy, Chris, goes, hey, John. And he turns around and goes, this is Mickey. He's on 98 Rock. I swear to all my life.
Kidding.
Johnny Unitas went, I know Mickey. He
That
goes,
is
my
too
kids
good.
listen to you in the morning. I didn't know what to say. Johnny Unitas goes, I know you. You know what I mean? And it was just,
That's fantastic.
And I got a picture that day that Chris took, and he gave me the picture, and I lost it. It breaks my heart, man.
Yeah.
But, those kind of things are what I think you and I were very good at articulating to on the air and sharing.
Sharing.
Yeah.
The sad thing now, because of social media, is you don't have that. You don't have the days. Even soccer today, all the kids got to play at a high level, have 3 different uniforms and bags.
Yeah.
Hey, you guys are paid.
These 12-year-old kids are
man.
fitted like they're in Division I college. Yep. It's unreal.
Hey, I played baseball my senior year. One of our sites was at Herring Run. I think I told you the story. Playing for Pat O'Malley for Brooklyn Optimist. During the game, it's second inning, guy from Public Works comes in, starts cutting the outfield grass. He goes, hey, man, I'm told to cut the grass. The guy goes, the game's going. He goes, got to get it cut. So, well, at least now in Public Works in the city, they don't do anything. At least they were doing something at that time. So the game went on, and guys cutting the grass.
Did anybody hit him?
Unfortunately not. When you try to, you can't.
Keith, you in sports especially, and for me it was kind of music and comedy that I came up through. I mean, I played sports, but my real career, came from Hammerjacks and doing stand-up. And you were a sportscaster, and then we met. The thing I feel, and I'm curious how you feel about this, when you watch sports now, is the passion gone that I want to say this properly because I don't want to foo-foo anybody, and I do think these guys care unbelievably.
Yeah, they do. Yeah.
But maybe it was because the money wasn't so huge, and it just feels different. And is that because I'm older, or do you?
No,
feel
I agree. I agree. It is different. It's funny. It's funny you say that. the passion to play hasn't changed. The
Drive
how they
to win,
show it.
yeah.
It's that, well, the money has created a little bit of not a little bit, but a lot of just guys moving around all the time.
Yeah.
You really can't. In college basketball now, I've really kind of take a step back. I don't even know. We used to know every player from North Carolina, every player from
you
Duke,
did.
every player from Virginia. I don't even know every player from Maryland at the start of the year because
Well, who was the kid?
Guys are changing every month.
Who was the kid this year in the 16 that hit that point at the end?
Oh, Derek Queen, the kid from St. Francis. Yeah,
Let me tell you
he's
something.
Baltimore.
Let me tell you something. One of the greatest quotes in Baltimore sports history. How'd you do that? I'm from Baltimore.
Baltimore, that's why.
That's why.
And everybody.
I jumped out of my couch that day.
And all the old guys.
Yeah.
I mean old guys
Yeah.
now, old that played back in the day.
Sure.
Muggsy, David Wingate, Reggie Williams, obviously all the Dunbar guys. He actually referred to Muggsy a little bit later.
Yeah.
But, Quentin Daly tweeted something out. And Derek got it. Hey, listen, not just in basketball.
Is he going to go pro?
Oh, my God, he's going to be
He's
top
a
4 or 5
freshman,
draft.
right?
He's I go back to the days when Marvin Webster, I don't know if you remember the name, went to Edmondson High School, played at Morgan State for Nat Fraser, whose son is what's his first name? He's now anchoring the one of those network Hollywood shows. Anyway, long story short, Marvin Webster ended up winning 2 NBA championships with Seattle. He's probably the best big man to ever come out of Baltimore.
Wow.
Loyola had a guy named Pete Budko, went to North Carolina. Lee Dedman from City went to Carolina. There hadn't been a lot of big men, a lot of swing guys. Rudy Gay, David Wingate, Herman Hareed. Man, they come out of the woodwork. Wingate, Reggie. He's probably the 3rd or 4th best big man I've ever seen to come out of here, and he's only 19 years old, man. He's got great footwork.
What an endorsement.
Passes out of the post, can get up and down the court, and you saw his agility making that winning shot. Plus, he's humble. I gotta love him, man.
The thing I really dig, I could listen to you talk for hours, Key. I swear to God, you could talk about how to open up a peanut, and I'd listen, man. And again, that goes back to just passion. You know what I mean?
Passion.
That's everything.
It's changed. The social media has changed everything.
The
amateur sports has changed tremendously.
Yeah.
We played 80 games going into my senior year in the summer. These kids are playing 30 at these showcase events.
Yeah.
The pitchers are only throwing 5, 6, 7 innings a game or a weekend.
Yeah.
Or during a week. It's crazy.
I think you'll appreciate this story. So I coached my son Carlin in soccer.
Yeah.
For a club team, and it was weird because when I played, we played the game different. And it's really because we were taught by guys, we didn't get to see anything. My son, he's 18 now, but that entire generation, even 10 years older than him, grew up watching Ronaldo, Messi. I could go down the list of the great players. We didn't have that.
Absolutely.
So when I
had to go to the Baltimore Arena to see the World Cup.
Absolutely.
Pele played.
Yep.
Wasn't even on TV.
The thing I missed because I was too young that I wish I would, if Pele came to Memorial Stadium and Santos, I believe it was, his Brazilian team played the Cosmos or the
Cosmos,
Bays.
wasn't he?
Yes, but they did an exhibition. I think it was the Baltimore Bays against the Cosmos, I can't remember, or Santos' Brazilian team. Lincoln Phillips was the goalie for Baltimore Bays. I met him years later. I was probably a 12-year-old goalie, and this is a true story. I'm in Herring Run Park. Pep Perella's my coach.
Oh, man, legendary.
And a guy named Mike Rayberg, I don't know if you remember him, amazing goalie. I think he was All-American as a goalie and a midfielder in the same year. It's incredible. Or maybe a year apart, whatever. Phenomenal soccer player. They're helping me. All of a sudden, there's this guy standing there, and he comes over to me, and he says, you're diving off the wrong foot. And I turned around, right? The black guy standing there. I never met him in my life. And I said, I'm sorry? He said, you're diving off the wrong foot. You're diving off your back foot. Push off your front. I didn't even know what he meant. So he says, I'll show you. And then Billy Karpovich. Mr. Karpovich's youngest son, who was phenomenal athlete, unbelievable, fires a shot from like 18, and Lincoln took off to the right, tapped it over the top bar, rolled, got up, looked at me, and went, that's how you do it.
Is that right?
And our jaw was on the floor. I got to meet him. He taught me things. He showed me things. This was a guy that was a world-class player at a park and saw some kid And it just
That's very cool.
Yeah, it's just an amazing.
He ended up
thing.
going on to coach at Howard University. I think,
Correct.
didn't he?
Yeah.
Man.
And other guys would just you'd walk into Herring Run Park some days, you'd see a guy running around kicking a ball. He'd kick it to you. If you kicked it back, you played. If you didn't kick it back, he'd go get it. But one of the guys was a player that came to play for the Blast, a Trinidadian player named Noel Dixon. Let me tell you how wild this guy was. He had his keys on, what's that thing called? Like
a lanyard.
Lanyard.
Yeah.
You know, where you key on that long thing. We're running and playing. He's got his keys in his pocket. Keys in his pocket. So we're playing. It starts to get a little heavy. He just takes his keys and throws them over in the grass. Well, they cut Herring Run about 4 times a year. So the grass.
Yeah, no doubt. That's that guy from Public Works out there cutting.
Right. So after the game, or after we're done fooling around, Noel goes, "Can't find my keys." And we're like, "What?" 30 kids walking around this, and finally, I don't remember who found him, picks him up, and he's like, "Thank you." This was a professional soccer player playing with a bunch of kids.
You know, big difference now. You mentioned playing pickup games at Herring Run or Patterson Park, and it was you had to stay up to win.
Oh.
If there's guys waiting to come on the field. I remember going to the old Madison Square Dome and watching pickup basketball games in the summer. There was a BNBL league, but there wasn't AU like it is now. And it was a war to stay on the court. Because if you got off the court, you weren't playing again for about an hour.
Yeah, 100%.
And that's how good the talent was. And, man, it was guys running each other into the fence and undercutting on layups. Man, it was win or get off.
Keith, I just got a text. A friend of mine who is from Italy.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a gigantic soccer fan. He just texted me. And I don't know how long he's been in Baltimore or Maryland. He just texted me, "Soccer studs in East Baltimore, question mark, laughy face." He has no idea, but this is a guy from Italy. So it's like different,
Just to let you know, at one time it was the amateur soccer hotbed of the country. Right?
Yeah.
They would win national championships.
100%. Yeah.
And youth league soccer, man, it was tough, hard-nosed
Baltimore,
kids.
St. Louis.
St. Louis that time, right?
St.
Dallas
Louis.
was probably
Dallas was great. Seattle always had phenomenal. Philly, I got to give it to them. Philly had great players. New York had some great players. But East Baltimore, and I think it was because of the close proximity of so many different cultures that lived together, that loved soccer from their home countries. And then when they got here, East Baltimore was like little Europe for a while.
Yeah.
You know,
melting pot.
Yeah, it was a melting pot.
Well, you lived it, man. You were in that culture.
It was wild, man. It was really cool. Keith, one thing I want to ask you, when you look back on all the years, whether it's broadcasting, meeting people, people coming up to you, and you know what I mean by that, it feels amazing. Does it still make you feel good when somebody walks up and goes, "Wow, hey, Keith"?
Oh, my gosh, no question. Very humbling.
Isn't it crazy?
No question. It's the Vince Bagley school of being humble. Scott Garceau and I were walking around the concourse level of Camden Yards, the first game. Rick Sutcliffe pitched a shutout. We're walking with Vince, and it was pretty much the end of his run.
Sure.
And I mean, 100 people came up to him in the 5 sections we walked.
He was maybe one of the, him, Jerry Turner,
Al Sanders.
Al Sanders, just most beloved TV people.
Yeah.
And we grew up with them, and you're right. They were just amazing guys.
I said to him, "How do you do that? How are you so kind to these people?" He goes, hey, listen, you know, if they're coming up, and I'm doing a bad Vince.
No, it's pretty good, actually.
You know, if they're coming up to you, it means 2 things. One, they're either watching or they're listening. Even if they're not real happy with you, they're still watching the list. You got to treat them with respect.
And he did, man. He was the best. He was the best.
Taught us how to do it.
All right, Keith, we're going to talk more, but right now it is time for our feature. This is how we do things. This, my friend, is That's the Fact, Matt.
Well, thank you, guys.
Thank you, Matt.
So, I don't know, I woke up to the kind of really sad news this morning that Val Kilmer had passed away yesterday.
Man, did you see his documentary?
I never saw his documentary, no.
Phenomenal documentary. Yeah. This is something I find fascinating. That guy videotaped his life. I forget how old he was, starting at like 18. He always just videotaped so the footage he has of, I don't know if it's absolute ego or what it is, but he's got these,
wow.
You know, when they made the documentary, I don't think he could speak, and I don't know when but if you get a chance, I don't remember what it's called. I'll have to look it up. I'm on the spot, but if you get a chance.
Didn't he do an AI voice message?
Yes, when he won something or was honored, and he typed something, and AI was able to reproduce his voice perfectly and give the speech. I mean, pretty soon.
So your favorite Val Kilmer movie? Mine was. It was a bizarre movie. Was The Doors?
I love
played Jim Morrison.
One of my all-time favorite movies.
Man,
was
crazy, odd movie.
I mean, that guy with The Doors. I mean, he became Jim Morrison.
Do you know how he got that gig? Did you ever hear the story?
No.
So they're having auditions, and there was like a promo event or something at the Whiskey A Go Go. He pulled up in a limousine in a full leather he hadn't even got the job yet. Jim Morrison leather kind of suit. Got out, got on top of the car, spread his arms, and said, "I am the Lizard King."
You're kidding.
No, and he basically manifested that role. Was it Oliver Stone that directed that?
Yeah.
I saw Oliver Stone tell that story. It was incredible.
I mean, he not only portrayed Jim, of course, but he learned like 50 Doors songs and then sang everything throughout the entire movie, you know?
Amazing.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, it's unreal.
Dan Rather does that big interview on the Access channel that Mark Cuban started, Music Channel, which kind of Cuban starts this channel because he wasn't happy with MTV and with what he saw in cable. So John Densmore, Ray Manzarek, and Robert Krieger were on, and Dan Rather asked him about, what did you think of the movie?
Yeah.
And they all said, "Oh my gosh, Val Kilmer talked to us interviewed us for hours on that, and said he just brought Jim to life."
He was, I think, one of those actors, when you really think about what the art of acting is, totally committed. He happened to be insanely great looking. And a lot of times, Brad Pitt, I think, is a phenomenal actor, but he's so damn good looking, you miss that. One of my favorite roles of Val Kilmer was the Western. No.
Western.
Oh. Yeah,
Doc Holliday. What was that movie?
was great.
What was that movie called?
It was Tombstone.
One of my favorite.
I'll be your
Kurt
Huckleberry.
Russell.
Yeah.
Kurt Russell's in there, right?
Yeah, Kurt Russell. That movie. And what's his name? Hey, man,
that was another bizarre kind of movie.
You know what's a true story? I mean, you know, and that time in America was pretty crazy, man.
I don't like you. I'll just shoot you in the head. Can you imagine that? In high school, walking around, hey, I'll meet you outside, but I'll shoot you first.
Think about this, though. Everybody in the world carried guns then, right? Yeah, right. And there were less shootings.
It's like Florida.
Well, that's
not a shooting in Florida, man. Say what you want about Florida. Everybody's carrying.
When you know the other guy has one, you think twice before you reach for yours. That's all I'm saying.
Would be a whole lot less road rage, I'm sure.
Was it the throat cancer or whatever it was that he finally died from?
So his daughter Mercedes told the New York Times he died of pneumonia, actually, was the cause of death. He was 65. He started out as a stage actor in the early 80s and then became a star in Hollywood after landing early roles in the comedies Top Secret, Real Genius. Did you guys like that movie?
I loved Real Genius, actually. I did.
Such a great movie.
Not ever being close to a genius, I didn't want to make me feel
Me either.
bad.
I watched it as an instructional movie.
Yeah.
But I learned something. Just realized how much more stupid I was. Hey, here's a question for you, though. Speaking of Karen. Gun racks in the back of trucks.
Yeah.
Is that still legal? Can you put your gun back there, like if you're going on Eastern Shore and hunting or something?
I think you can.
I haven't seen many.
I think you have to separate the ammo
from the gun. Yeah.
Okay.
That is what you have to do, by the way.
I'm sure those guys don't get, carjacked or whatever.
I don't think it's too often. Yeah. The problem with the gun racks for me is that they're usually next to a Confederate flag, so it makes it a little scary. You don't know exactly what you're dealing with.
Great point.
Yeah.
Leave it alone.
So here's his story about how he passed. In 2014, Val was diagnosed with throat cancer. He had a procedure on his trachea that damaged his vocal cords to the point where he had extreme difficulty speaking. He had to use an electric voice box.
Yeah, in the documentary, he kind of uses a thing, I think, towards the end. Yeah.
Now, I had no idea that he actually filmed his life up to. You know who else did that? It was Shannon Hoon from Blind Melon. Blind Melon.
Yeah.
And if you've ever seen his documentary, there's a documentary about him, and it leads up to essentially an hour before he died.
Wow.
All self-filmed. I mean, these guys were the first vloggers, I guess, back in the 90s.
Well, you know, it's weird when you watch the
80s.
Yeah, when you watch the thing on Val, you ask yourself, is it narcissism or is it sort of like a performance art thing? It's hard to really get your head around. But when you really look at that guy's career and he addresses being a dick to some people, like he was tough to work with, man. Like other actors tell stories, but everyone says the same thing in the end, that like his talent was just second to none. And De Niro and Pacino had commented on him years later after Heat.
Yeah.
And they
That was a
said
good movie.
it was a really, really surprising, a joyful surprise when they worked with him to realize just how good of a craftsman
No kidding.
he truly was.
Wow.
They thought he was just a pretty boy like a lot of people, but he had chops, man, and I'm a fan.
I wish I remember the quote he had. It was something to the effect of like, I could be difficult to work with, but that was just with the idiots. Or
Right, yeah.
something
That's
to
just
that
what those
effect,
idiots
you know?
say. Yeah,
For people who were difficult to work with.
Yes.
I may have been guilty of that once or twice.
Not with
man.
me, brother. Well, management is a different element.
Well,
the people you work
Keith,
with every day is.
You know what's funny, man? I've reached out to Scott especially. When I think back on those days, I was going through a lot personally that a lot of people didn't know about then. And I could be, I don't want to say the word is volatile, but kind of like I would explode, and it was just pressure. Like I wanted that show to work so much, and because I really didn't know what I was doing,
Which is why it was fantastic.
I think you're right. I'm finally able to kind of.
Well, no, you knew what you were doing.
I knew how to make people laugh.
Text. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
You're a comedian.
But they put me behind the board. They did everything they could do.
Well, the allure was reality radio, and
Yeah.
that's what we were
no
talking about on
question.
this show.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah.
No
yeah.
question.
Yeah,
Matt.
it was definitely reality
No
radio.
question. And
yeah.
before we leave, remind me to share the story that I shared on the air when you had two dancers that came in on your Friday afternoon or Friday morning show that would always go to Scores or whatever.
Yeah.
And I had coached a porn star on basketball at Andover High School in Linfield. Remember that story? And
That's right.
and one of them knew him.
Yeah, the guy knew. The girl knew.
Great
him.
story.
That is hilarious. Yeah, phenomenal.
All right. Well, we are about one step closer to having a space navy.
What? Space Navy?
Space Navy, yeah.
For
The
all
U-
the ocean out in space.
The U.S. Space Force is collaborating with Seattle-based company Gravitix to develop an orbital carrier spacecraft designed to deploy multiple satellites in response to threats. It's being funded through the Space Force's Space Works is what it is, development office. Up to $60 million has been earmarked for this project.
Wow.
That's good word. Wow.
Keith, the year I was born, what year did we land on the moon? 69?
69.
I'm born in 68. We landed on the moon in 69, and in my lifetime, we're going to Mars. Like, it's insane. Can you imagine 50 years from now?
Oh, my goodness.
I really think people are going to fly everywhere. Everybody will have their own little flying
Jetsons.
thing.
It'll be
We're
the
in our
Jetsons,
infancy
right?
right now.
What's that?
We're in our infancy
Oh,
right now.
100%.
I mean, we're essentially going to the moon in space on a bomb right now. You know?
Yeah,
I mean,
you're right.
It's a missile flying up into the.
I always wondered, like, we look at space now the way at one time people looked at the ocean. Like, how are we going to get out there?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And what are we going to find?
And what are we going to find on the other side? And now we're looking at other planets and going, all right, we'll be there June. I mean, it's wild.
Crazy.
Wow.
Well, part of the reason we need to do it is because eventually people are going to need to get off of this planet.
Yeah, but we're
for some
talking
reason.
about 1 billion years from now, probably.
Maybe, they
You
they
think
say,
it's a
God,
100?
if man's still around, what's it, Zager and Evans in the
Yeah.
year 2535?
Yeah.
They're still around in a billion years. I hope I'm out of here, man.
Well, look, they were talking
In a
about
test tube somewhere hanging out.
Yeah.
They were talking about an asteroid coming in. I think it's 2030, something like that. And
Yeah.
there was it was a small chance, but it
Right.
was a 3.2 chance that it was going to hit the Earth.
Wow.
So
Wow.
they're saying that it's not a matter of if something like that's going to happen; it's when.
When?
Not
Yeah.
getting political, obviously, and
Right.
I'm really not. But Elon
Me,
Musk
yeah.
says they're going to Mars next week.
Yeah.
Basically.
Yeah, like that's what I'm
That's
saying.
how confident he is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And forget the politics if I could care less about any of it. But I mean, those men that are moving society forward with innovation. I think about 2005, which is 20 years ago, where we were. The internet was really just starting to get fast.
Yeah.
Now
Now
it's
look,
it's insane in 20 years what's happened. 20 years from now, it's going to be wild.
How painful is it that 2005 was 20 years ago?
Well, not as painful that 1968 was 57 years ago.
Hey, my 50th high school anniversary is this year.
Wait, how old are you now?
I'm 67. Be 68 in June.
I don't look as good
1975
as you,
I
and I'm
graduated.
10 years younger than
Man,
you.
I got a hernia. I got to get a hernia operation. I got to
Just
get a knee
had mine, Keith.
replacement.
Just had mine.
Arthroscopic. That's what I'm
yes,
having.
It was arthroscopic.
Oh, I need to pick your brain.
Yeah.
I listen.
Look at us talking hernias.
Yeah, I know.
I guarantee you one thing. That's the
Come
last
on
thing
over
I
here. I'll
thought
show
I
you my
was gonna
scar.
talk about.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Mickey, you have the way of pulling the best out of us, brother. Hernias included. If you can pluck this hernia out of me right now, you and I we'll buy a house together.
Deal. Can I pick my own tools?
Oh my God.
All right, well, Keith, you're down in Florida now. Do you ever take advantage of any of the cruises? Do you go on cruises or
Been to
cruise
cruises,
ships?
been to many a cruises.
Yeah.
Fort Lauderdale 3 times. Yeah, never gone out of Orlando or Tampa or Cape Canaveral or Tampa. But
Gotcha.
Yeah, I love them, man. I love going somewhere where you don't have to drive anywhere.
Right. Yeah, that's beautiful. I mean, you can do that in Baltimore
home.
now, which is great.
Home. You can do that home.
And you can certainly do that in
point.
Florida. But tell me
Yeah.
if this is ever a worry for you. Over 200 passengers sick with norovirus on board luxury cruise ship is the headline.
I would say I never worried about that. I never worried about things I can't control. I guess I can control it by not going on it. But I would.
That's smart. That's probably smart.
I never worried about it. I mean, if someone was hacking away, the key is not to go to the general buffet because that is a war zone.
Yeah.
My son, you
the
saw
running
my
of the
son, Nick,
slobs.
my son's small, and this is back.
How
in
old is
the-
he now, by the way?
Man, he's 32, living in Dallas. Yeah, he was on that team. He loves you, man. By the way.
I loved it. What a great kid.
So my son is like in between these two terrorists, Tony Saragusa types, one woman, one guy. The average weight was like 350, and he's getting squeezed at the buffet. They're reaching over him, and they're leaning this, and they're attacking the whatever the heck,
Yeah.
the salad bar. And he goes, "Dad, I ain't going back up there again, man."
Hey, let me tell you something.
We
If
went
you
to
ever-
those custom restaurants from here on out.
If
Stay
you-
out of the buffet if you want to stay
So what do you
healthy.
do? You got to order off the menu. That's
Gotta
kinda
order off the menu.
All right.
Well, I will tell you one thing. I on a cruise,
Don't go to the hot tub.
I saw the buffet, and let me tell you something. Have you ever been on a boat where they just start chumming for fish?
No.
That's what a
That
buffet's
is
like. I'm telling you, anybody over
That is
275, it was like, and it was like the running of the bulls, and I had to dive out of the way. It
Opens at what 7:07
7:01.
6:58. There's
by
50 people in line.
Yeah, by 7:12, the buffet was empty. It was insane. All the food was gone. These fat slobs walking around, they had biscuits stuck to their face. Oh, it was disgusting. It was like watching a
that's-
herd
that's the
race.
You got to
attraction for
do
me,
it. You got to
man.
do part of your stand-up on that.
On
you
fat
could get
people at the buffet.
That you get 20 minutes out of that.
God.
Yeah, so there were 224 passengers and 17 crew members reported symptoms such as diarrhea and vomiting.
Yeah.
In response, the crew implemented enhanced cleaning and disinfection protocols, isolated affected individuals, and collected stool samples for testing. How's that for a vacation?
Where was it, Matt? Do you know?
It departed from England and made its way to New York and the Caribbean is where it
Okay.
went. Yeah.
You know, I always wondered about. I've never been stuck on a cruise. I've only been on one cruise actually, and I liked it. I did like it. I was
enjoyed
young. I'm young. I was a young man in my 20s, but I enjoyed it. But I've always thought about like, oh my God, how much that would suck. You know, if you got stuck on a boat because it's quarantined. I don't understand that. Why don't they just get everybody off the boat? Like, go home. Go home and be sick. That's the part I guess you don't want it spreaded. I don't know. If I'm stuck out there for 2 weeks, I might be swimming.
Yeah, they quarantine you, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Quarantining is pretty easy on a boat.
Yeah.
Oh, for sure. But I'm saying
like Mickey said, unless you want to jump off the boat, you can.
Quarantining.
Everybody's basically quarantined in some way.
they won't let you back on the shore.
Yeah, no, they won't.
Yeah,
Right.
that's a good point.
So, speaking of being stuck on a ship, NASA astronauts Butch Wilmore and Suni Williams held their first press conference the other day.
Those are the two that were stuck there, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
They were supposed to be up there for about a week, and
And
they
it
were
was-
stuck up there for how many days is it? 286
Man.
days.
Can you imagine?
278 days more than planned when they blasted off. And I never did kind of understand what the problem was.
I didn't either because
But-
the
yeah.
Musk people went up there and got him in like 3 days.
Wasn't
what
it?
happened?
Wasn't
and
it?
they got supplies to them as
Yeah.
well, you know?
It had something to do with they didn't have a satellite or a ship in orbit that could go get them, the government, Musk offered the government, said, we'll go get him. Originally, the government said, no, we'll take care of it.
Okay.
And then apparently when Trump won the election and Musk said it again, and 3 weeks or 7 weeks later, whatever it was, Musk took off, got him, and came home.
back.
Yeah.
I mean, it is. Have you seen that thing get caught yet? The when he launches that rocket and it comes back and they catch it?
Absolutely brilliant, man.
It blows my mind.
Speaking of the space station, did you see
Yeah.
the video opening day? One of the astronauts is in the pod.
Yeah.
He's in gravity. He's floating, and he takes a bat and a ball, and he swings and hits it, and he swims in air, and gets in front of it and catches it, and then he
Oh,
hits
my
it
God.
back and he catches it again.
That's amazing.
I thought, if this is real, this is one of the
that's
most
real.
unbelievable things. Of course, you never know this day and age. It might be some computer thing, but I thought it was real. It looked
It
fantastic.
probably is real. I mean,
I thought
for real.
so.
I saw a footage of an astronaut one time with shaving cream or something, and he like kind of blew it, and it just floated, and he grabbed it,
Did he
and it
really?
was like a blob sitting there. I don't know if it was real, but he's just grabbed it. It was so wild,
Okay, here's
man.
a question: If you were paid, $50,000 to go up there, would you? I would. I
go
say
where?
it now.
I would go
to
up
go
there
in
in a-
space.
in
a
I say it
shot.
now until I probably had to do the training for it.
Not a
I'd probably
freaking
pass.
shot
Till
on
gravity hits you.
Earth.
Wow, you wouldn't do it?
I'm not leaving Earth. And when I say leaving Earth, I mean the fucking ground. I'm not leaving it. When I have to fly in a plane, it is like I sit like this from here to LA, just like, oh my God.
So you don't even
Really?
like to fly then?
It's the scariest thing in the world. Here's
Yeah.
why. People have to go, well, it's way safer than driving.
Well.
And I was, that's true, but I've never seen a car fall 40,000 feet out of the sky in my life. It petrifies me. No way am I going to space.
Oh, man.
Not a shot.
I would love to experience weightlessness, and that's one of the funny
That I'd
things.
like.
When you see the astronauts come back from Earth and they're used to weightlessness, and
Yeah.
they'll have an object and they'll think they can put it in the air.
Yeah.
It's like it just drops.
Yeah, I couldn't do it, Keith.
No.
I could not go to
Yeah,
space.
yeah, I probably would. Push come to shove, I probably wouldn't do it.
Are you okay with heights? Like, can you go to the top of a building and look around?
I'm okay with that.
Not me.
I don't know if I could. I mean, I could do it if I'm enclosed, like
Yeah.
in the 60th floor of a high rise in New York or something. I don't know if I could do it like walking around.
I went to
don't
the
know.
Empire State Building a couple years ago, and the person I was with wanted to go to the top, to the observation deck up top.
Yeah.
I did not want to go. I agreed to do it. When I got off the elevator, there's a door that you walk out onto the deck. The moment I walked out onto the deck, I fell to my knees and couldn't breathe. Could not breathe. Matt, I fell to my knees. I
Do
had
some
to
hypnosis, man.
I had to crawl around the top 100%. Crawled on my hands and knees while people are looking and taking pictures. I'm crawling.
Really?
I crawled inside, and the elevator attendant, the valet, whatever you call it, said, "Sir, are you okay?" I said, "Can I please sit here for a while?" And he said, "Absolutely." Said it happens about 3 times a day. Somebody just panics up there.
What was the sensation like? Was it like
I felt
complete anxiety?
I felt immediately like there was just unbalanced. I felt like I was going to fall. It was so overwhelming.
Yeah, it's fight or flight.
Yeah, I flew right the hell out. Yeah, there I'm not doing it. If I'm on the ground and a bear comes at me, you got a better shot of me fighting a bear than me fighting that view in New York City on top of the Empire State Building.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
We got to get a power cord in that laptop, by the way.
Oh,
for
is it
Keith.
dying?
Yeah.
Oh, hold on. Let me get Keith right behind you. That's for me, and that blue bag right there. Let me have that bag.
So while you guys do that,
seconds.
I'll talk about the next story here.
Live
for you
show,
guys.
everybody. Forgot to plug the power
Great thing
cord
about live TV and radio and podcasts.
Derek, the plugs on that side.
You get all the.
Sorry, Keith.
Oh, no problem.
I'm going to hit you in the face.
Not
All
a
right.
problem. Would have helped me.
Yeah.
All right, so Mickey,
killed that
yesterday
bag.
we were talking about your AOL email address, right?
I still have my AOL account.
So do
Correct.
I. Me and you, dinosaurs, baby.
Forever.
You got one too,
I do.
Keith?
Yeah.
All right, so it's you, Keith, and,
And
my
I think
my
Teddy
mother-in-law.
Roosevelt are the
Yeah,
only
I said
3 people
AOL.
alive that have one.
Eddie Roosevelt.
Because he owned the company, I think, at that time.
Well, just know
I
that
don't know why I came up with that name. It was the first one that came to my mind.
It was old and it was perfect.
Could have been Don Shula or somebody cool.
Just know that one of your Gen Z work colleagues really wanted to find out how old you were. They will be looking at your email address. For example, when Gmail first became a thing, it was invitation only, and it was easy to get an email address with just your first and last name at gmail.com.
Right.
No additional letters or symbols. That's a sure sign that you're of a certain age. They can just look at even your Gmail and tell that. And then, of course, we have those people. You guys,
yeah, that have
are a great
AOL.
example,
Ancient.
who are keeping
Stone
AOL
Age.
and Earthlink and all those places alive.
So are they like is AOL probably the oldest sort of big email address?
I would think so.
Yahoo.
I would think so, yeah.
Yahoo's the only other one that was right after AOL.
Yahoo.
Now, I still have a Yahoo address. So does my wife. She was just talking about getting rid of hers yesterday.
Yeah, I don't want to get rid of my AOL
No?
one. I think I'm going to be able to sell it one day. I'm not kidding. I think it's going to become
great idea.
like a novelty thing.
Mick,
I'm not
they're
kidding.
counting
Well,
on you,
package
buddy.
my deal with yours. And
You got it.
You got
we'll
it.
do it twofer.
Well, what's the hip thing now? What is the
Gmail, I say, because it's owned
Gmail.
by Google. You know,
Yeah,
so everybody's on
Gmail. Yeah,
Gmail.
okay.
It integrates with everything.
I got
yeah.
it.
Yeah. And what was the other? Remember that dot me? I don't even know what that was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Dot me.
Anybody, when everybody go, I go, what's your email? John Smith, me. I would go, you're a dick. I'm not
me.
even emailing you. I don't
That's
even
one
care.
of those other dancers at scores that used to come down. That was her name, right? Dot me. Judy Dot me Collins. I learned this all from sitting across from him.
Yeah, right.
For 10 years.
You just hit it all, you
Telling
son
you,
of a
man,
bitch, for 30
I
years.
walked out of there happy as hell every day.
That was fun,
Spent
man.
a lot
I
of
love
time
doing
with
that
you.
show with
And then
you,
I got
buddy.
to go downstairs do TV with Sarah Caldwell, Jen Franciotti, Mindy Becerra.
Let me tell you something.
I was tough, man. I
Listen,
hated that.
I'm not on the radio anymore or television. So let me just comment on a couple things that I've always wanted to and never could.
Ooh, I'm going to stay out of this.
Go ahead. There were women in that building that when you walked by them, they were stunning. I mean, and when you talked to them, they were sweet.
Very cool.
It
Oh,
was
man,
unbelievable.
unbelievably cool.
I didn't even think girls that hot could be that nice. You know what I mean? And I had crushes on all of them, like innocent boy crushes, even though I was 36 years old. But I loved working there.
On our floor, man, the third floor. It was.
Oh my God, the sales
people.
girl. What a place to work. What an
Good
awesome
spot.
time. What else we got, Matt?
Well, we have a woman who accidentally donated her jacket with the winning lottery ticket inside of it.
Oh,
So, this is basically like the
Oh.
plot of a
is that the
sitcom
woman
or
with
movie.
the Bitcoin or something? Oh, no, obviously not.
No, she actually had a Pennsylvania Cash 5 ticket, 76-year-old lady. She bought it at the Shop and Save in May of 2024 and matched all 5 numbers for a jackpot of $2.5 million.
What did the jacket cost?
Probably, I mean, she
$9.99
donated it. She
at,
donated it, you know?
She donated a jacket and she left the ticket in it.
She left the ticket in the pocket.
Tell me how this story ends, bro.
Well, let's see how it ends here. She donated
She went and
to
tried to buy
Vietnam
another
Veterans
jacket,
of
see if she could
America.
do it again.
Unfortunately, the jacket could be anywhere, and the charity says they don't track purchases. And the deadline to cash the ticket is May 8th.
So the ticket hasn't
So-
been cashed, obviously.
No,
And the
no.
jacket's nowhere to be seen,
It's still
obviously.
MIA.
Wow,
but if
man,
we go to
got 2
Pennsylvania,
more
man, we could fund this show finally.
Let me
know?
tell you what I'm doing tomorrow morning. I am
Jacket
driving
shopping.
I'm going to every Goodwill or wherever they send this crap and buying every jacket. That's amazing.
So apparently there was this story. I think Josh Spiegel did it this morning
Yeah.
on 98. That where this guy had a flash drive and on it was a Bitcoin. I don't even know what that is.
I
but
know what you mean. Yeah.
worth like $20 million or something.
And he lost it?
It got put in the trash and it's in a landfill. He's trying to figure out where it is, what landfill it was taken to.
Oh,
Oh, my God.
I think that's probably his.
You ever
Now
throw
he
anything
says
out?
it's worth 30.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah.
who
It
knows
might have
if
been
that's true.
yesterday. He was watching
Yeah, it might have
Bitcoin
been
stuff. I don't even understand that stuff.
Yeah.
Worst
me
thing
either.
that happened
me
to me
either, man.
I went to a dry cleaner and had $500 in bills from a tip that somebody gave me because I would do, I don't know if it was a DJ gig or a hypnosis
Right,
show.
yeah.
But it was cash.
Wow.
And I left it in my jacket pocket, took it to the dry cleaner, and then I came back asking if I could see my jacket, and it was gone.
Oh, wow.
And what are you going to do, though? You're gonna,
I know.
Man.
I'll
Yeah.
tell you what I would have done. I would have done this. I would have looked the guy straight in the face and I would have just said, hey, I had $500 in that jacket. I'm not going to make a scene. If you took it, you're a piece of crap. And if you didn't, I apologize, but somebody here did. Have a good day.
Yeah.
I don't even want my jacket back. Screw you.
Yeah,
That's what I would have done.
It was a little old lady.
And then I'd have got my ass beat and drove home crying.
Little old lady.
Oh, it was a little old lady?
It was a little old lady.
Oh, I'd have beat her ass till I
Hey,
got my money.
Hey, how do you answer this? How come there's never like any big old ladies?
Right.
There's always a little
Not
old
an
lady,
old lady.
working behind a counter.
Yeah, you
Can't
gotta-
count to 10.
You got to go to
There's
like...
not a big old lady who's
You got to
gonna
go to some Nordic country north of Germany.
you a bear
gotta
hug.
Yeah, crack your spine. Yeah, that old lady got an ass whooping. If that had been my $500, I tell you, I could take a little old lady. A grown ass man, I could tell him keep it. But that woman, she getting an ass whooping for my $500.
Exactly. All right, we'll go back.
Totally kidding,
We're going
by
back
the way.
tonight, Mick. We're going back tonight. We're getting my $500.
Yeah, we'll
all
do
right?
it. Yeah, I'll tell her as soon as I walk in. I ain't taking no crap from you, lady. Where's my
Hey,
money?
what was that scene in Pulp Fiction where the guy's coming up to clean the car out that they inadvertently shot the guy at the
Oh,
end?
yeah.
And they put John Travolta and Samuel Jackson in these T-shirts,
Yeah.
and one was like Cal Irvine volleyball.
That was after they went
And
to
the
a...
wolf goes, "What, you got a game today, Hoss? What's up?"
That is one of
Oh, that's
the
classic.
greatest movies I've ever seen, Pulp
I
Fiction.
don't care how many times that's on a week, which it's on like every other hour.
You got to watch
You
some
gotta
of it
watch part of it.
every day. I'm with you. If it's on, I'm watching. That, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and for whatever reason, I'm 12 years old, but National Treasure with
National
Nicolas Cage.
Treasure was on last week. Watched it.
Do you like that?
Oh hell!
Do you like that movie?
I've never seen it.
Oh,
never seen
dude.
it. Yeah.
Both of them.
Yeah,
I
both
love
of them's good.
I love them, and I love Nicolas Cage.
Yeah.
I think he's the most strange, awesome, crazy son
John
of a-
Voight, Nicolas Cage, father and son. The guy got a Academy Award for playing the Midnight Cowboy as an X-rated
Yeah.
street thug.
And isn't it? Wait, am I screwing this? Is
No,
John
I'm-
Voight Angelina Jolie's
Yeah,
father?
yeah,
right.
father,
Yeah.
yeah.
Right.
Phenomenal actor, by the way. Unbelievable actor. I love John Voight. But yeah, the National Treasure.
Treasure's good.
I love him.
Even though you know how it's going to end. It's like Apollo 13 for me. I've seen it like 50
Yeah.
times. And when they've lost contact with the rocket, I still think they're not going to make it.
Oh, 100%. Yeah. Oh, they're not going to make it.
And then when
this
they make
time.
it, man, it's like, yeah, they made it.
You ever watch? Any of you guys could do this with kids, but if you ever watched a movie you've seen a bunch of times that's true, it's like a true story, and your kids haven't seen it, and you go, God, guys, can you imagine if they really did this? And you kind of they're thinking, oh, they'll never do it. Like I remember when my boys were little, we watched Rudy. And I kept telling him, I'm like, you know, guys, the best part of this story is that just his desire. He never even got to play, but all he wanted to do was be a part of the team, you know. And we're watching, and when they put Rudy in at the end of the game, but my boys were probably 8 and 7, 9 and 7, whatever. It was like they were at the game. They're jumping up, but I knew it. You know, it was so much fun.
That was a great movie.
Oh, I love that movie.
Great movie.
All right,
That guy
it's
made
it's
some
on my
money.
must-see list now.
That guy made some money going around the country doing.
You kidding?
Oh man, off of that thing.
Woo!
The
Yeah.
real Rudy.
Yeah,
Man.
Rudiger, right?
Rudy
Yeah,
Rudiger.
Yeah,
I don't
Rudy
know what his
Rudiger.
real name was.
Yeah,
His name was
yeah,
like-
yeah. Go ahead, buddy.
I don't know.
So, Fire Festival. You guys remember Fire Festival?
Is that the one that was a complete disaster and they lost millions of dollars? People stranded, no food.
Guy went to jail.
Yeah,
Whoa,
yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah.
So they put on a huge. Keith, there was a huge. Was it Jamaica?
It was some island. It was a random island.
Yeah,
somewhere.
And
yeah.
they put on a huge concert, and you could rent a tent for 2 days. It was yours for like 20 grand, but it was like luxury stuff.
Oh, no kidding.
The guy basically took the money and didn't do anything. People showed up. There was no food. There was no electricity. People were abandoned for days.
combinations were horrible.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
it was
No
crazy. Oh, my. The guy went to jail. Yeah, when was
Crazy.
that? 2010,
It was,
11, 12?
I had the original.
No big
date.
deal. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
But within 10 years, right? Or close to it?
Something like that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so Fire Festival 2,
Yeah,
believe it
not
or
a
not,
shot.
is going down and just a couple of months away, but its host island says the event does not exist. Tickets went on sale ranging in price from $1,400 to over $1 million. Wow. And that $1 million ticket, he's got some kind of package where you can go like jet skiing with the guy who went to jail. However, authorities of the Mexican island, Isla Mujeres, where the event is scheduled to begin May 30th, say they don't know about it.
This guy's
that's a problem.
By the way, make prediction. Here's your 2028 presidential candidate.
Yeah, no kidding. I want to know who bought a ticket for that. Now, like, who paid
You
for
got
a
to be
ticket?
an absolute moron to do something like that. I don't even like. I don't even like concerts. I don't like concerts. I don't like concerts. That's not what I mean. I don't like festivals where you're in a huge open area with 150,000 people.
Same here.
It's not my thing, man. I don't mind standing on the side and looking at everybody.
Weather where there's,
That's okay.
Yeah,
I can deal with that.
Live Aid kind of thing.
Yeah. When it gets.
There's a great documentary out on the old Boston Celtics or the Boston Celtics tradition.
Oh, really?
And they played the Phoenix Suns in a game, and it was a bad call at the end of the game. And I mean, the Boston Garden fans rushed, and one guy got the official in a headlock and had him on the ground. I mean, it was a chaos.
What years are
This would have been like 1981-ish, somewhere around there, right after Bill Russell retired.
That's before Bird and Magic, right? Before that?
It was before Bird came. No, this would have been 71. I'm sorry.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, Bird came about 8 years later.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Matt.
So I got a pregnant woman who has pulled 2 bank heists. There's a woman who was 8 months pregnant.
We go.
Leaned into a life of crime and made her husband an unwitting accomplice. Anna A., she was in Poland, got hooked on gangster films while she was expecting and decided to see what robbing a bank was like in real life. So she got her husband to be the getaway driver by telling him she was going to go to a baby doctor appointment. And she pulled off 2 armed bank heists, but got caught and had the baby behind bars.
Are you
and
kidding
just
me?
lost her appeal. No.
That's the kind of woman I need. That's a woman that gets up and gets shit done every day.
Creative.
Hell yeah, we're going to make money.
Speaking of movies, just saw the movie Novocaine.
I didn't
Randy
see it.
Quaid's son, who plays
didn't see it either,
a commercial real estate banker.
Okay.
And the girl he's kind of hitting on is involved with a bank robbery, and he doesn't feel pain. That's my only bank robbery connection story was that one. It was kind of entertaining, though. As much violence in the movie as The Expendables.
Yeah. So
Unbelievable.
I think that it's easy to kind of get caught up in the glamorization of all that. Like if you want, like one of my favorite movies is Ocean 11.
I love that movie.
Absolutely.
Love that movie, and you're by the
No doubt.
middle of it, you're rooting for these guys for this crazy plan, and you're like, it makes it so cool.
I find the best movies are kind of when you root for the guy that's quote unquote the bad guy, but his intentions are good.
His intentions are good.
It's like, what's that movie where Denzel's the baddest sumbitch that ever walked, and the Equalizer?
Equalizer, man. Oh,
they
can't. You can make an Equalizer a month, and I'm going to go watch it. Yeah.
I'm going to be pissed 2 weeks later the next one's
He
not
is
out.
the baddest, and there's been some bad movie.
There's some tough ass dudes.
That guy, man.
You know what's so
He
good?
is.
I'll tell you
He's
what.
the greatest actor I've seen. He is to me.
What a genius!
Just the
my
model
favorite
of
thing.
perfection.
My favorite thing about Denzel is the sort of calmness in his psycho craziness. Like, even in Training Day, which
where he's the bad guy.
he is the bad guy.
Man.
But when he can just look at a guy and that like. Okay. And you start going, all right, something's about to. Is that what we're going to do? Are we doing this? And he just starts talking. Have any of you seen is it the Book of Eli?
Oh man, where after the Holocaust?
Oh,
yeah.
That's that dude is incredible. Love Denzel. And I don't know if you guys watch a lot of Facebook reels, but Denzel is in more quote. Those quote reels where it's like, if you're the kind of man that's going to tell me not to go to work, and it looks like him talking, but it's AI. Anything with Denzel, I'm watching it, and I know it's not even him. I'm watching Facebook reels with Denzel. He's the baddest.
I watched the Queen Latifah Equalizer the other day, hoping he'd come on. I'm serious. I'm dead serious. When I saw that was on, I'm like, great, Denzel's doing a TV show. It's Queen Latifah. I said, I'll give it a shot. It's actually pretty clever.
Isn't it? My uncle watches it. He loves it.
Yeah, it's fun. I mean,
That's
not
awesome.
funny, but
What else we got, buddy?
So there's
the good guys always win.
OnlyFans is now being sued by 2 men because they weren't chatting with real models. Okay, so there's 2 Illinois men who have filed a class action lawsuit against OnlyFans' parent company, and they allege that the platform misled users by allowing third-party management agencies to impersonate content creators in subscriber communication.
Now, I tell you I did, right?
What's
I'm
that?
going to say it right now. I want to put this show on OnlyFans. I think it's hilarious, and let me tell you why. I literally want to do it as the joke. Like, if you're on OnlyFans, you're looking at all these naked women. And every now and then, in between rejection, you could use a laugh. So you click on me, and I'm going to charge $2 a month, Matt. $2 a month.
You'll get $2 million just from curiosity.
That's my point. And listen, the other thing I want to do is I want to start doing reviews of OnlyFans people, but not the sexual content. Like, I don't want to show anything, nothing like that. I want to pick a model or a guy that does something weird and just talk about them, and I think we can make a fortune having an OnlyFans page with a comedy podcast and no nudity.
There you go.
Are there already men on the platform?
I think there are. I think there's a lot of men, especially gay men.
Well, you can take your shirt off and make it even like a little.
I'm trying to make money, Keith. I'm trying to make money.
The shattered illusion of getting to talk to a pretty girl has led the plaintiffs to claim the practice violates OnlyFans' terms of service and deceives users seeking authentic interactions. OnlyFans fan creator contract acknowledges that third parties may assist creators with their accounts, but the lawsuit argues that this disclosure is insufficient and not prominently featured.
Can I be honest and really say what the saddest part of this whole story is?
Yeah.
Okay, so imagine you're a guy and you can't get laid. You know what I mean? And there's plenty of us out there sometimes. But, maybe you're a little overweight. You don't have a great job. But you get it done with OnlyFans. Then that's your goal. And you wake up every day. You're so happy. You're going to talk to your OnlyFans model. Then you find out that the girl you're in love with, Rochelle, is actually a small Vietnamese boy who's running the account from overseas, and that's what you've spent all your money on?
Right.
Like, you're already a depressed loser in the first place, and the person you're paying to turn you on isn't even the person they say they are? Right. Like, how does it get worse? The only way it can get worse. Yeah, like, I don't even know what you do at that point.
That's the person you need to have on.
That's the guy I want on our show.
What are you thinking?
Yeah. And by the way, I want to say this. I have zero problems with anyone in that industry, the adult entertainment industry. I don't judge anybody. If you're not hurting it's a victimless crime, in my opinion, as long as no one's getting hurt and they're doing it at free will. And I really think, Matt, we're going to talk about this. I think I may have come up with a genius idea.
That's hilarious.
To put I think people would, for $2, go, what is this?
You might be right.
Dude.
Back to the story at the start of the show. I coached a kid who became, I don't know if he was a porn star, he was a porn actor.
Yeah,
Jason
Snewitt.
Yeah. Went to Andover High School, which is now North County High School, merged with my old high school. Dan Krimmelbein was the basketball coach, replacing a guy named Dick Hart, who was sick, asked me to help him out. Jason was a quarterback of the football team, good-looking kid, average basketball player. Danny and I would go to Little Havana on Saturday nights after I was at Channel 2.
Sure.
And 2001, I guess it was. I'm home. All the premium channels just came on, HBO, Skinamax, all that stuff. I'm channel surfing, and I see Jason Snewitt laying the hammer down on one of these.
Online?
Oh, no, it was on Cinemax. Yeah. So we had just gotten home from Little Havana, and it's like 2 in the morning. I got off the air 11:30. Came home, channel surfing. There's Jason in the buff. Bam. I called Danny. He goes, "What's the matter, man? You okay?" And I said, "No. What's Jason Snewitt doing right now?" I go, "Oh man, he's a porn star in Hollywood." I'm like, I'm like high-fiving myself for no reason in my house by myself.
Your dream was he was going to be an NFL quarterback. Turns out he's a porn star.
Yeah.
That's even cooler.
Unbelievable. So his stage name was Jason Schmidt. I go on the air with these guys, and every Friday they would have the girls that were going in to dance.
Yeah, the strippers would come up and they'd promote their club.
Known to do a movie or two.
Yep.
And in a commercial break, Mick and I were talking. I said, "Hey, any of you guys know a guy named Jason Snewitt?" And the woman on the other side of me whips her head around. And you go, "Who's that?" I said, "I told a story before. I told a story on the air."
Yeah.
And you try to get a hold of him.
Yeah, I tried to call him.
Reardon, "Hey, try to get a hold of this guy. We got to call him." Well, this woman is really, it upset her.
Yeah, it did.
So I do like 3 minutes. I had to go downstairs to TV. She comes outside. She goes, "How do you know him?" I said, "I told you. I coached him in basketball."
Yeah.
"Oh, yeah." I said, "Yeah. He grew up in Ferndale in Glen Burnie."
Yeah.
And she almost fell down because, "Yeah, we dated." I said,
"Really?"
Almost got engaged. I said, "Well, I got to go, man. I got to go do TV. Nice talking to you." So we told that story like 7:30. Dan
Yeah.
Trimmelbein is still teaching. He calls me. He goes, "Did you mention on 98 Rock today with Mickey that I coached a porn star in high school?" I said, "Matter of fact, I did." Because all the kids are talking about it. We can't get anything done. I said, "Did you tell him that he's one of them?" I mean, he grew up like 5 minutes from the school.
Alumnus.
That's my favorite story of all time.
What a great story, brother. What a great story. Matt, let's do one more, brother. Let's do one more.
So maybe this woman here should open an OnlyFans. There's a woman who saves money on rent by living in her work bathroom. So to save money on rent, a young Chinese woman has decided to rent out the bathroom at the factory where she works for just $7 per month. She staked her claim on a 6-square-foot bathroom facility, complete with toilet and utility sink. The room is big enough for her to bring in a small bed and a portable hanger unit for her clothes. Her boss says the girl insisted on paying double the rent to pay for water and electricity, but that offer was refused because they didn't want to take advantage of her.
Now, you see, that kind of story to me, and maybe I'm wrong, isn't that what's right about America at times, though? Like, if you think about it, in a sense, right or wrong? I mean, what do you think?
In what sense?
Well, I mean, say it again. Like, what happened exactly? Or I might have missed something.
She is paying $7 a month to live in her work bathroom.
Right. Okay, so my question is this. If she's cool with it, who the hell cares?
Well, I was going to ask you if I could live in the bathroom.
Yes, you can. By the way,
how many other work
$5
bathrooms are there? That's the key. Can the rest of the staff use somebody else's? If they can, that's a major problem.
That's a good point.
You can't
He's got like a kid laying in there, or a dog or something.
Guys, you can't use the bathroom right now. Julie's taking a nap.
Yeah, Julie's taking a nap, or something worse.
Yeah,
I got a friend over. Oh man, hey, Jason Snow is over there hanging out with her.
All right, Matt. Listen, we're gonna wrap up. Anything else you want to do? Do you want to hit anything?
That is the fact.
Classic, man.
Thank you. Everybody, listen. There's some things going on that we're really excited about. Tomorrow there'll be some announcements about some things that we've been working on, to say the least. I have some shows coming up this Sunday. I'm at That's Amore in Rockville. Next week, I am at the Grunwald Social Club in Canton. And then I'm in Hanover, Pennsylvania, April 18th and 19th, where I'm filming 4 one-hour different shows in a row. It's all stream of conscious. If you can get up to Hanover, it's going to be fun. And I hope you can come see the shows. Matt, you have anything coming up you want to promote?
I got nothing coming up. I'm just happy that Keith Mills dropped by today.
Oh, Matt,
thank you.
Great seeing
it was
you, brother.
awesome seeing you, man.
Good seeing you, sir.
I'm getting ready to say, Keith,
my brother.
When I started this thing, I thought I want to do a show every day where I could just talk to people, tell funny stories, have a good time. And I thought, maybe one day I'll be able to get people in here with us that people know. I mean, for my 11th show, and Keith Mills is in here, I know we're friends.
No-brainer, brother.
But you got to understand something. I know we're friends, so to each other, we ain't shit. But to the public, man, you're an incredibly respected and adored part of Baltimore, and it absolutely means the world to me that you came here and did this show when it is absolutely nothing yet, but I'm so excited.
You can be anytime for
Thank you,
I
Keith.
told you that a couple of years. Anytime, anywhere.
You're one of the greats. Ladies and gentlemen, Keith Mills,
Nicky,
thank you so much. We will see everybody tomorrow. Are we changing the time?
We might be a little bit earlier tomorrow. I'm thinking 3 o'clock ish tomorrow.
Yeah, we're testing stuff right now as we've been going. Tomorrow, I think Matt and I are going to go at 3 p.m. We're just going to try it one day. I'll be promoting that on the page so you'll know. Go ahead, Matt, one more thing.
The good news is that it's going to live on Facebook, so you don't have to watch it at 3 p.m.
You never have to watch this show live.
Eventually, we're going to have it on YouTube and all the big podcast platforms very
Probably
soon.
Tomorrow we'll be announcing all that stuff.
Yep.
And OnlyFans coming soon. See everybody tomorrow, hopefully at 3. Bye, guys. Thank you.